Jackie Murphy y su hijo Fintan acaban de llegar al Instituto Mind en Sacramento, California. Están a punto de someterse a estudios rigurosos durante varios días para que los investigadores puedan obtener un mejor entendimiento acerca de la rama específica de autismo de Fintan. Los descubrimientos mostrarán su situación en relación con la gran mayoría de los autistas.
The biggest problem we have in understanding autism is that there appear to be so many different types. Yet we don't know how to pick out when a child is diagnosed with autism which type he or she has.
Aunque no se sabe cuántos tipos de autismo existen, sí se sabe que los que fueron diagnosticados comparten, en cierta medida, comportamientos similares. Problemas con el lenguaje. Los niños con autismo suelen demorar el inicio del habla o directamente nunca hablan. Algunos desarrollan un lenguaje inusual a lo largo de sus vidas, problemas para conectarse con otros seres humanos, una falta de empatía o capacidad para entender la perspectiva de otra persona, comportamientos repetitivos e intereses limitados. Los autistas suelen aferrarse a actividades rutinarias o monótonas. El cambio los atemoriza y desorienta. Los investigadores del Instituto Mind buscan otras similitudes entre los niños con autismo para acercarse a las causas probables.
Megan, can you put his chin up a little bit, okay?
Sus sistemas inmunes y digestivos, sus genes, el medio que los rodea y su aspecto. Todo es analizado en detalle.
Okay, let's try again.
Como primer paso le toman fotos 3D al rostro y cabeza de Fintan para ver si revelan alguna anomalía. Luego miran dentro de su cabeza. La resonancia magnética del cerebro de Fintan comprobará si su tamaño es mayor, otra de las características potenciales del autismo.
About 20% of individuals with autism have really big heads. They're at the 97th percentile. Not all parts of the brain are growing rapidly, but only some parts. And of those some parts, the one that's most consistent is the frontal lobe. So what does the frontal lobe do? Well, the frontal lobe that does things like make plans for the future, probably involved in social behavior, allowing us to know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. They think of other people sort of more like tools or objects. And the lack of that ability to think about what somebody else is thinking might be due to the fact that the frontal lobe is not working properly.
Do you see that my son has an enlarged brain?
Yeah, we're going to need to do the measurements, and then we're also going to be able to sample his blood.
It felt like being validated to me, to know that there are many issues going on with these children. It's not just a behavioral issue.
Mientras Jackie espera los resultados de la resonancia magnética, las pruebas continúan. A Fintan le colocan una gorra con sensores para que los investigadores puedan medir las ondas cerebrales, mientras él escucha sonidos de distintas intensidades.
Quite often, children with autism have sensory sensitivities. You might find them holding their ears when they're allowed sounds or having large reactions to being touched. One of the things that we're interested in is seeing whether or not their brains differentiate sounds that are soft, medium, and loud.
Can you hear those sounds in the headphones?
If we find that someone cannot track changes in the intensity of sound, so that their brain response to a quiet sound and to a louder sound is pretty similar. Like if somebody enters a hallway and starts talking, you might hear the intensity of the sound not changing as that person comes toward you. There will undoubtedly be many instances of surprise and confusion because of the lack of accurate predictions of changes in the environment.
Oh, you're usually fine about being here, buddy.
Part of the difficulty for them is they don't know what's happening. Imagine if we rolled out of bed and anything could happen. Anybody could show up. Any activity could emerge. That would be a very confusing and disorganizing way to start a day. But that's what the life of a young child with autism is often like.
Bubbles. Bubbles.
Sally Rogers del Instituto Mind es una de las líderes mundiales en intervención temprana. Ha ayudado a develar lo que actualmente es la mayor esperanza para un niño con autismo. Hacer terapia de comportamiento intensiva y temprana cuando el cerebro aún se está desarrollando y puede ser modificado. No es una cura, sino una manera de educar los síntomas. Los beneficios pueden prolongarse a lo largo de toda la vida, aunque la ventana para tomar esta oportunidad se abre mucho más en la edad temprana.
The window is open in a special way in infancy. In infancy, babies' brains are literally forming. The neurons are moving, they're establishing connections, they're connecting by extending out little processes to each other with a little gap that the currents can actually flow across. And that's how one neuron communicates with another and how the whole brain manages to talk to itself. After all these connections form, a baby has a lot more connections that they'll ever need. And so the brain actually starts to clear away some of the clutter. It's called a process called pruning. And so that pruning out process is going to result in a more efficient brain. We want to make sure that the things are in place at the time of pruning, our language, social communication, and play, so that we don't lose some of the wiring that would support those during the pruning process.
Jason Sorenson tiene autismo severo. Actualmente tiene 24 meses y ha estado trabajando con Sally desde que tenía 19 meses.
For Jason, our highest priorities right now are developing a sense of communication, that messages go back and forth between people. We want him to understand that eyes and faces carry messages, and especially we want him to know that voices send messages.
Roll him up and throw him in a pan.
So an awful lot of what we're doing with Jason are setting up situations in which he has something to communicate.
Why don't you see if you can add like a stop sign to that and see if you can get a gaze shift to your face when you do a big, yeah, and then wait for him to look to you to open that gate up. Jason, stop! Jason! Jason, go!
Did you get a glance?
Yeah, a little glance. We're also working on with the adults not to pick him up when he cries, as we've discussed that in the past. So he's doing the arms up much better.
That arms up is beautiful.
So that's going really well. He's doing really well, yeah. And we're just amazed with last night and the night before how he started to kiss. That has just been a huge thing in our mind. Will you give me a kiss?
Tratar el autismo mientras todavía se puede modificar el cerebro es la mayor esperanza que existe en la actualidad. Mientras tanto, las investigaciones científicas continúan.
Peekaboo! Peekaboo! Where's you two? Fenton has never played peekaboo. There are many things you would think might be hard, like having the blood draws, and that's not fun. And the MRI, you would think that might be the hardest. But the hardest part is really taking apart and looking closely at where your child is developmentally.
Hello. Who's there? Hello.
It is really hard to, you're moving along and you're doing your therapies and you're doing the day-to-day stuff, and then when you come to the evaluations, it really does remind you how the age your child is.
Después de 3 días y 3 noches en el instituto, Jackie dio un aporte sustancial para la investigación. La resonancia demostró que el cerebro de Fintan tiene un tamaño sustancialmente mayor que el promedio de su edad. No es una respuesta, aunque es una pequeña pieza del gran rompecabezas del autismo.
In the beginning, I was reading every book I could get my hands on and checking every therapy out and was very gung-ho. I was going to just take on the world, and I have been trying to do that. But it's going to take a lot longer. Reality is sinking in, and it's going to take a lot longer. But I'm very hopeful. I think we're going to see good progress with him.
Finn, how about the bubbles?